What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. In today's video, we are going to take you along as we diagnose and repair the ABS and VSC light that we are getting on our new to us 2006 Lexus IS350. Okay, so if you'll see here, we have a check VSC system light on. We have brake light, ABS, and traction control. Now, we went ahead already, we scanned it for codes using our Xtool D8, and we are getting two codes here. We're getting a C0210 circuit of right rear speed sensor, and we're getting a C1238 for an object is attached to tip of rear speed sensor. Now, in my experience, this code right here, C1238, could be a couple of different things. It could actually be a piece of metal from, whether that be metal fuzz from the rotor, something like that, wearing and interfering with the air gap between the tone ring and the sensor. Or it could be a bad tone ring in the wheel bearing. And additionally to that, it could also be a wheel speed sensor. Now, this vehicle had one speed sensor replaced. I'm not sure which. It's not in the notes that I have. And it also had both rear hubs replaced with aftermarket units. Now, a quality wheel speed sensor for this car is a couple $100, so I want to rule that out. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to clear these codes just so I don't have to sit here and look at the light. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into system selection here. Okay, we're going to go into ABS. We're going to go into live data. And what we are going to do is we're going to graph all four of our wheel speeds. So left front, left rear, right rear. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to vehicle speed. And I'm going to go ahead and graph that. We're going to hit custom. And we're going to go to graph. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take the car for a ride, and we want to see exactly what each wheel is doing, see if we have a signal dropping out or an erratic signal or something like that that can point us in the right direction. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set our cruise control at right around 30 miles an hour. We want this thing to maintain a steady speed, and we're going to watch what our wheels are doing. And if you look at our right rear speed sensor, you'll see that it is very erratic. It is dropping out. It is not reading correctly at all, while the other ones are reading, what they are supposed to be reading. All right, guys, so on this particular vehicle, your wheel speed sensors in the back, they live right there. You can see right where the light is. You can see the business end of the sensor coming down. And then the tone ring is going to be inside of this hub bearing. So what I want to do is I want to spin this around, and I just want to take a look, see if I see any abnormalities there in that tone ring, because if there are, I'm going to start leaning towards an axle problem. I can tell you off camera, I did spray that down with brake clean and drive the car again, and it actually made the problem worse. So I'm not thinking I have a wiring problem. I'm thinking I have a problem with the tone ring being read by the sensor. So let's just go ahead and spin this and look for any abnormalities here. And I see something going on there. Looks like maybe it got nicked by the axle when they were putting the hub in, maybe? I'm not sure. Let me see if I can dig into that a little bit further. All right, guys, so I think we're having an issue here with air gap on this sensor. I don't think there's a problem with the sensor at all. We have the sensor out, and it actually, I have it right here. There was nothing stuck to the tip of it. So that code is basically just saying that there's an erratic reading coming from it, is what I believe here. Now, I did try to go ahead and manipulate that tone ring there, where, like I said, it looks like it got hit with the axle stub when they were trying to put the hub back in. So let's slap it all back together, and really just see if it's any better. I'm hoping that it is, because I don't want to put another hub in this. It looks like a little bit of a pain in the butt, because you got to drop this control arm, it looks like, to get to that nut, that Allen head. But let's slap it back in and take it for a ride. All right, guys, so we're here driving the car, and it's a little bit better after we messed with the tone ring to adjust the air gap. It's not dropping out as bad, but we already got our lights on. So based on our findings, I'm going to go ahead and order a hub assembly for the right rear of the vehicle, and that's what I'm going to go with, because that's what my gut's telling me. This sensor is reading, it's just not reading correctly because somebody dinged up that tone ring. If I didn't see that tone ring on the inspection, I'd be leaning towards a sensor. It's unfortunate that with this vehicle we can't swap the sensors, but unfortunately the left and the right sensor are directional, so the left needs to go in the left and the right needs to go in the right. But with that said, let's go ahead, let's get a hub ordered, let's slap it in, and let's hope that fixes it, because that's, again, what I am leaning towards. I'm leaning towards it's going to be that hub. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and replace the hub. All right, guys, so off camera, we did just go ahead and pull the wheel off. They come off nice and easy, obviously. So there's a couple things we have to do. First, we have to go ahead and remove this, what looks to be a 17mm bolt. That will allow us to remove the caliper from the hub, and then we can go ahead and pull the rotor off. I'm just going to go ahead and tap it with a rubber mallet. It should come right off. These were not serviced very long ago. So let's set you up on the tripod and let's start tearing into it. So removing this caliper is going to be a 19mm bolt. We're going to go ahead and remove it. Okay, I'm going to pull this pin out. While I have it out, I am going to lubricate it when I put it back together, but for right now, this should suffice. Go ahead and get a pry bar, pull that out of the way. That's a beautiful thing. All right, so now we can go ahead and unstake our axle nut and then remove it with a 32mm socket. It's got to be a special axle socket. I'll leave one in the video description. Now, our brake caliper was actually seized on here with the bottom slide pin, so I just went ahead off camera and I pounded it off the rest of the way. This gives me a chance to clean that up real nice and make sure that caliper slides nice and freely. But to go ahead and unstake this axle nut, I'm just going to go ahead and put a punch here, and I'm just going to drive the punch in like this and up. Okay, now we can go ahead and remove that nut. And it is going to be a 32 nut 12-point axle socket. I am just going to go ahead and spray this down and then go ahead and remove it. And it should, just like that, come right off. So now I just want to make sure that the axle is not seized in the hub. I'm just going to give it a little push and you'll see just how nice and easy that moves. So that's a good sign. So now we can go ahead and sneak behind the hub. I'm going to lift the car up a little bit and we're going to go ahead and unbolt the hub. All right, so now that we got the axle nut off, again, we ensured that that was not seized. We are going to go ahead and remove the wheel speed sensor just to prevent it getting damaged while we are doing this. Very easy, don't even have to unplug it. One 10mm nut that just fell on the ground. Take that back up. Okay, and I'm just gonna pull the wheel speed sensor straight out like so. Here it is, I'm just gonna let it dingle dangle. Let's get under the car and pull these hubs off. So removing the hub is quite easy. There is 4 10mm Allen bolts here, but you're going to need a swivel style Allen socket to get them off because you have to come in at an angle. So we're just gonna go ahead and stick this in here, and I'm going to crack all of these loose and get them out. Okay. And this is where the swivel style will make this nice and easy, because you don't have to get in there perfectly straight. You can come in at whatever angle you need in order to crack them loose. So now that I got them all loose, I'm just gonna go ahead off camera, back them all out the rest of the way, and then we'll pull the hub off. All right, guys, so we went ahead, we got all these bolts loose. We went from behind the hub with those bolts and just tapped them with a hammer, and we got the hub to the point where it is ready to slide out. Now, what I want to show you here is on the back of this hub where this tone ring is. You can see that the tone ring is damaged, and I don't know how it got damaged, but it got damaged. And I can also tell you that somebody has been in here before because they neglected to replace the dust boot for the ABS sensor, which kind of bothers me because had I known that, I would have ordered them. But with that being said, we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this all back together and see if our ABS problem is gone. If it is, when it comes time for me to have to put axles in this, because I know eventually I will, we'll replace those dust boots at that time, because you either have to remove the knuckle or drop the differential to get these axles out, and to get those dust boots in, the axles have to come out. So let's go ahead, let's grab our brand new SKF bearing, let's get it in there, let's tighten it down. All right, we got all of our bolts on the back of this thing nice and tight. Now we're gonna go ahead and take our axle nut. We are going to torque it to 229 foot-pounds. Okay, once we have it torqued to 229 foot-pounds, we're going to go ahead and take a punch, and we are going to stake the nut. That way, it does not work its way loose. Like so. So now we can go ahead, clean up our brake slides, and put the rotor back on. All right, guys, we got our caliper back on, greased up, lubed up, ready to go. We got our rotor back on. We threw our wheel speed sensor back in. Let's go ahead, throw a wheel on it, and let's go take it for a ride and see what happens with how the ABS sensors are reading. I'm almost 90% sure that that damaged tone ring is the root of our problem. So let's go ahead and confirm that. All right, guys, so we are here in the IS350 after replacing that right rear hub due to that ABS light that we were getting. So what we have now is our scan tool. Again, we have it set up on graph mode on all 4 wheels along with vehicle speed. And if you'll remember earlier in the video, the right rear wheel signal was completely spazzing out. It was all over the place. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and replicate what we did. I'm gonna get out here on the road, and we are going to set the cruise control at about 25 miles an hour. Let's go with 30. All right, so we're doing about 30. And let's just take a look here at what our sensors are doing. And what you're going to see is that right rear that I'm focusing on right now is no longer going absolutely crazy. It is reading nice and, you know, straight. It's a nice linear line, and everything here appears to be copacetic. Everything appears to be happy, and we have no ABS light on. Earlier, the ABS light would have already been on after clearing the codes, and we can just see that everything here is good. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna call this fixed. The car's fixed, ABS light is repaired, and that just goes to show you, when you have a code for an ABS sensor like we had 2 codes for the sensor. We have object stuck to tip of sensor, and then sensor circuit. The item that the code is pointing to is not always going to be the cause of your problem. So you do just need to take a step back and look at the full picture. We did a full visual inspection, and as soon as we saw that that tone ring that is built into the hub bearing was dinged up, likely from the installation or the lack of a professional installation of the previous hub bearing that was done at a non-Lexus dealership, was the cause of that problem. So the car is fixed, everything is good with the world, and now we can go ahead and enjoy the car. So please like, share, subscribe. If you haven't already, comment down below. Let me know if you're kind of surprised or what you think on what we found here with this code. And we'll see you guys next time.